Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the Barbie movie. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer. Barbenheimer. Barbenheimer. I'm sorry. I thought it was Barbieheimer.
I thought it was Barbieheimer too.
Barbenheimer.
Okay.
Barbenheimer, and how well they did at the box office. And this is really interesting because, up until this weekend, all we heard about was Hollywood's not doing well. Hollywood's dying. The movies aren't doing well. We don't understand what's going on. And Barbie hit 155 million. Oppenheimer did 80 million.
Yeah.
Both in the same weekend.
And then The Sound of Freedom's doing really well too.
Yeah.
And then before that, the Mario movie. So it's like people are just tired of the same old, same old.
I think that there's actually beginning to, be some truth to this whole superhero.
I think there was
thing.
before, but okay.
But it's not just that people are tired of superhero movies or tired of sequels. They're tired of shitty sequels and shitty superhero movies, and they want something new.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the key takeaway from this. I think, regardless of what you thought of either movie, because they're both getting backlash in their own way, obviously.
A lot of people like them too.
Yeah, a lot of people like them, obviously. But, I think that the key takeaway is going to be that Hollywood needs to move on. It needs to move on and do some new stuff and not just dredge up 30, 40-year-old properties and drag the corpse around.
I mean, Barbie is like a decades-old property, let's be honest.
Yeah, but this is the first
it's a toy,
movie.
and it's a well-known, I would argue the same with Mario. When you have something that's widely known across the globe, that's been a brand established for years, it's gonna do well. Whether it's good or not, it's up to debate, but it's gonna do well.
Yeah, and of course, we have a Christopher Nolan movie too, and they always usually do pretty well. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you do, you'll get a woohoo.
Woohoo!
So yeah, we split up. You went to go see Barbie with, both kids actually went to go see Barbie.
They both saw that because Squid King wanted to do the Barbenheimer.
And
he did. He's the only one of us that did.
So he stayed at the theater, and then I switched you out, and I took him to go see Oppenheimer.
Yes.
And one of these movies was more depressing than the other. Can you guess which one?
Well, it's probably supposed to be Oppenheimer. But it depends, if you're a dude watching Barbie.
Yeah, we'll talk about the movies themselves. Let's talk about the numbers first, and then we'll talk about the movies. So this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. Box office stunner. Barbie opens to staggering 155 million. Oppenheimer snags 80 million. It's the fourth biggest weekend of all time at the domestic box office.
I'm not really surprised, though. Are you surprised about Barbie or whatever?
I knew it was going to do well. I didn't think it was going to do that well.
You know what? I thought it was going to do really well. I'm actually surprised Oppenheimer's lower. I thought it was really smart of Hollywood to try to cross-promote their movies like that. And they probably heard people talking about it online. They were going to go see both because it was funny to see Barbie and then Oppenheimer because they're completely polar opposites, basically. And I think that it was very, very smart of them to double down on that and then to work together to promote them together. And even they even had Tom Cruise and stuff, promoting them, and how them promoting each other's movies was smart, and I think it actually worked to their benefit. Like, instead of competing against each other, they were like, because they're going to be, they were like, go do both. And I think when they did that, it was a really smart move.
So we got again here that Barbie scored the biggest domestic start ever for a movie directed by a woman.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So of course it's Barbie. Barbie's breaking ceilings.
Can we just talk about Barbie without talking about how women dominate something?
Now it's interesting. I will tell you, I did not expect this. Barbie also set a slew of other records, including landing the top opening of 2023 ahead of Mario. The next closest 2023 launch belonged to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Then Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Ant-Man.
I'm not really surprised by it because I'll tell you why. Barbie's going to attract a lot of women to the theater, and a lot of women are going to take their kids. A lot of people are going to think it's a kids movie, and it has some. It starts out kid friendly, and there are a lot of. It's not as bad as some people are making it out to be. I'm not going to say it's like, oh, kids should never see this movie. It's not like that, but it's not one that you really would like take little kids to and they'd understand it. Like they'd be like, I don't get it. Like what, why aren't they having fun? Why are they doing this? But
Mom, what's a gynecologist?
No, I'm just saying, I think that there is going to be obviously a lot of women go to this movie and they're going to take their kids and they're going to think it's a family movie and people are clamoring for family movies. Haunted Mansion's not going to be a family movie. So Oppenheimer definitely not a family movie.
Yeah, well, okay, so here's a weird thing about Oppenheimer. So I enjoyed Oppenheimer immensely. I thought it was an amazing movie. Obviously, it wasn't a very happy movie. We all know what the ending was, right? But it could have been a PG or PG-13 movie if it wasn't for the like 2 sex scenes in the movie. And one of them, they basically just spent like, spoiler, 10 minutes just looking at Florence Pugh's tits. Like, for no reason. They're having a conversation.
There's a reason. It's called It Brings People to the Box Office.
That's how it got its R rating, because it wasn't like Oppenheimer wasn't like, yeah, I'm going to fuck shit up making this bomb or anything like that.
No, he just fucked other shit up.
Yeah, he did. He fucked his life up and fucked a bunch of other people's lives up. But you know, it wasn't like they were dropping F-bombs all over the place, or it was like super edgy or anything, or, you know, it was just like, okay, so it was like a PG-13 movie, and then this like really gratuitous sex scene, which made no sense in the context of the movie.
It does titties.
It does titties, yeah. It does titties. We need titties. We need titties.
Actually, but you didn't need that. You know what I mean? Oppenheimer didn't need that.
The exact same. And look, I'm not all puritanical, right? Because I just dropped a couple F-bombs myself. But like, you could have gotten away with just putting Florence Pugh in a bathrobe and having the same conversation, and it wouldn't have changed the movie at all. Mm-hmm. But now they're in trouble because she was reading from sacred Indian text with her tits out. And yeah, so that would be like somebody doing it and quoting the Bible. And
I'm sure people do.
People in India are very...
I'm sure that there's
yes,
some
I'm sure they do.
That.
I'm sure people pray and beg and plead and all. But that is whatever.
No, that wasn't what I meant, but okay.
Oh, okay. So...
oh my God. Anyway,
I don't even want to know. But I guess some folks in India are not real happy. Not real happy with how that went down. I don't know if that's historically accurate.
Oh, was it in color or black and white?
It was in color.
Okay, so the one weird thing about this movie is apparently it switches from color to black and white often. And apparently what that means is when it's in black and white, it's basically verified things that are historical. When it's in color, it's them just making assumptions and subjective. So, because obviously since no one was there when he was, you know, screwing this woman, they're not going to know what actually happened. They're guessing. So they didn't explain that, but if you go see the movie and you're like, why the hell is it in color and then black and white? That is why.
Yeah, so his hearing, his troubles, and his grilling was in black and white because they have a record of that. So those were his own words. Everything else was just made
speculation. That's the difference in color. But they should explain that to people.
The part where they went, they stole plutonium. Him and Albert Einstein stole a DeLorean. And yeah, so they needed to get some plutonium, and it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. But yeah, no, it was actually very good. It was actually very good. So you don't even have anything to say.
No, I didn't see it.
Great Scott.
So I'm just like, I have nothing to say about it because I didn't see it. So.
Yeah. So anyway, it was, yeah, this is a very interesting weekend. Mission Impossible is not doing well. Indiana Jones is not doing well. The Flash.
Sound of Freedom is.
Sound of Freedom is. I was getting there. I was like, this is so weird. And of course they have to make sure they get the QAnon dig in there.
But I think that wasn't true.
But it is interesting. They can't ignore the movie. Now, I personally, I have not been keeping track of this movie. I know a lot of other people have been doing videos on it. I think just from a numbers point of view, and I'm very much a numbers guy, it is really interesting to see this thing hold its own, being an independently developed, you know. But
they're not all independently developed, obviously, but they're different than what has been being put out of late, and they're doing well.
I think that's the point. That is the key takeaway from my perspective, is that people are like, look, Hollywood, maybe this will send a message. Stop. As much as I liked, you know, like Ghostbusters Afterlife, and as much as I've liked, you know, some follow-ups to classic movies, at one point in time, those movies were fresh and new. And that's why people fell in love with them. They're fresh and new, and they were good, and they were solid, and they resonated with people. At some point in time, you have to walk away from these legacy IPs and realize you can't do any more with them. You have to stop. You put the paintbrush down. If you keep it up, you should know this. You keep at, you're going to ruin.
It's true.
You're going to ruin it.
I'm sorry. I was looking at the pictures and I was like, one of these movies has titties and one of these movies focuses on toxic masculinity. Guess which one?
Yeah, he does not strike me as a guy who would get a lot of action, but somehow he still got a lot of action.
So there's hope for everyone.
Yeah, Albert Einstein was his wingman.
For real?
Yeah.
Was that in black and white or color?
That was in color.
Okay, so we don't know that.
Oh my God. What if they had a whole other layer to it? Like, okay, so we went from like color to 3D. Put your glasses on now, because this is where shit gets really weird.
You know, so they have the 3D parts for the boobs and for the explosions. There you go.
Yeah, oh my God.
No, I just thought it was funny because I'm like, Barbie's like so focused on toxic masculinity and Oppenheimer has a lot of titties. I just thought it was funny. It is funny objectively.
So people are flipping out for the reasons I thought they'd flip out about Oppenheimer, because they watch the movie. Of course, everything now you have to look through the lens of political correctness and all that because of the way people are. So I think about what people are going to say about the movie as I'm watching the movie. And I get out of the theater, I'm like...
Sadly, you can't even watch movies for fun anymore.
I know, right? Well, nobody's watching Oppenheimer for fun, but, you know, except for the tits.
Most of them are going because it's their social media is telling you to go see Barbenheimer.
So I like Christopher Nolan movies anyway, so I would have seen eventually. If not in the theater, I would have watched it. But anyway, so we get out of the theater, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, people are going to complain that it's basically just a movie about a bunch of white guys standing around in offices and standing around in classrooms, and women show up to be sex toys, effectively. Mm-hmm. You know, that because there are very few women in the movie.
But to be fair, there are very few women in power then too.
Yeah, and again, we're focused on. So then other people, and I think it was Grace Randolph. She was like, "Well, you know, they need to show the effects of Hiroshima, whatever." And I actually had that conversation with Squid King when we got out of it. I'm like, it felt kind of small because it was all constrained to classrooms and, you know, Washington. And he's like, well, Dad, he's like, it was told from the perspective of Oppenheimer, and that was his world. Like, he was literally just a guy that was like in the freaking classroom all the time. He was a theoretical physicist. He wasn't on the front lines. This isn't Saving Private Ryan. You know, it's freaking, and yeah, he's right. Because even how they handle dropping the bomb is such a subtle, like, he just kind of hears about it when everybody else heard about it. Spoiler, they dropped a bomb.
Oh yeah. No, really?
But it's just kind of like one of those things like, oh yeah, well, there it is. Like, so there's all this build up to it, and then it's like, oh yeah, and I just like heard about it on the radio like everybody else. Well, that happened. Yeah. You know, but yeah.
That's okay. A lot of, tied to Hollywood, a lot of times people find out they're fired off projects at the same time as everybody else too.
That is 100% true. Yeah, like, hey, we're moving forward in a totally different direction with different actors, and the actors are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, no one told me.
Nobody told me I was fired, but now I know. Now I know. All right, is there anything we want to add here about
I do. I want to talk about the Barbie thing because, oh my gosh, so on Twitter, I did post a picture of, if you watched the video yesterday, I talked about the fact that there was a picture I saw with a boy playing with the dream house and a bunch of dolls, and it was like they were talking about how, you know, they're trying to market to boys. And I thought it was interesting given the way they did in the movie. And I'm getting all these people, mostly women, like coming at me like, that's not what happened at the end. They have equality of them. Like, no, they don't. No, they don't. At the end of the movie, they basically say that someday men in Barbie land might be close to having the powers that women in the real world have, which was an insult. And they can't just let it go. These people keep dogpiling me like I'm some kind of, like I'm the Barbies in the movie, that I witness misogyny. I'm so brainwashed that I cannot think for myself unless they come and tell me how stupid I am. And they keep doing it. I just find that funny because no one's doing that with people about watching Oppenheimer. It's just about the Barbie movie. Like, men and women can go see Oppenheimer and no one thinks anything of it. It's okay. But if, you know, you go through the Barbie movie and you're a woman, you have to agree with everything because, you know, and I don't know if that's going to hurt it or help it. But I'm not surprised. It's going to do money. I always knew it was going to do money.
Yeah, I think people are going to go see it just for the spectacle. I mean, I didn't see Barbie, so I obviously, it's not for me, but it's too pink. But
I love pink.
I know you do. I have to wonder what it's going to do in the second weekend because
both these, that's where I want to see where it goes.
Yeah, because I think Barbie, you know, part of the problem with the event movies like this is people go see them the first weekend, then it kind of drops off second weekend. Plus, it was a big, you know, Barbenheimer. But beyond that, people went to go see Barbie, and they're like, "Wait, this is like a feminist manifesto or whatever." I don't.
The thing is, it had good parts in it, and it was half a good movie. If it had just been just a fun here's a toy movie, Barbie and Ken, they're trapped in the real world. Let's have a fun adventure. And they still could have got some of the messaging in there and just been more nuanced about it. It would, and then I think it would do really well. And it still might do well because women like to be told that they're awesome, I guess.
You're awesome.
I am. Thank you. I know. But it's just like, I can't understand this. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, if you hate Oppenheimer, it's okay, whether you're male or female. But if you hate Barbie, only men hate it, and you have to love it as a woman, or somehow you're brainwashed and stupid. And I can't wrap my head around this. And meanwhile, Sound of Freedom's just been hanging in there all these weeks, and even without people, talking about it very much or fighting over it, other than trying to say somebody has a tinfoil hat on, or what is that called again? QAnon or whatever. I don't even fucking care, honestly.
I don't even know what that
it's
is.
Not even true.
I don't even, that was like, I think they had an episode of South Park and they were trying to like figure out what that actually is. I just know something.
I don't even know. Nor do I
pizza,
care.
something kids and like lizard people from the center of the earth or something. I have no idea. I don't know
either.
I literally do not pay attention to any of that stuff. I'm just like,
I was interested to see where it goes next week and the week after. I mean, I think Barbie's going to hold on like Mario Brothers. Because it's such a well-known, beloved property. And it's expected when you go to a Barbie movie, it's going to be very women-centric because Barbie was like a girl's toy for decades. But I just don't understand why, if the message is, they're trying to fix the problems at the end, why you have to fix it but then put digs in at the same time. Like, we're kind of fixing it, but we have to put digs in there too. It's just, can't we just have fun? Can't we just have fun anymore?
No.
Why can't we have fun?
Because Oppenheimer.
Yeah, but that's based on mostly on facts that happened, and it was not an unfun time.
It was like what actually happened, but with more tits.
It's like the Oppenheimer's like the anti-fun. I mean,
it was. It was. I mean, it's one of those movies where like,
that's why I didn't see it. I just want to have fun. I don't want to smile. I don't want to be sad, people. I don't want to be sad.
It's one of those movies where I thought about it for days afterwards.
I'm thinking about Barbie for days afterwards too, but
not in the way. But it was one of those things where we're like, yeah, and then I'm like, would I actually watch it again? Because it's such an exhausting. I'm like, I don't know. It's 3 hours. It's Christopher Nolan.
I think the 3 hour time run is actually causing a problem.
R-rated, 3 hours.
I think you've
dark topic.
You have a limited audience with that.
Oh, you have a very limited. But it was an amazing movie. It'll probably get.
Barbie would have a bigger audience if they weren't, making a movie about Barbie and girls and having fun all about misogyny. Anyway, both movies are about men.
Both movies are about men. There we go. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
Yeah. So just again, I think the takeaway here is that people are ready to move on. I think people are ready to move on, and they'll come to the theater for something that's
try doing more new things like this. Like, try to be creative. Try to come up with these movies or fact-based movies like this or Sound of Freedom or whatever. People want to see that. They're tired of another Flash movie. They're tired of a Marvel movie. Don't know how the Marvels are going to do. They're tired.
It's not good.
No, they're tired of it. They just. I think people are tired of being lectured at too. But that's a whole other story. So that's why I'm waiting to see what Barbie does. But I think people are they're ready for fresh new things. And in Hollywood, it's okay to take a chance and do a fresh new thing. I recommend that you do.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
Wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.